Welcome back to Badass Websites here in BOMU. We're currently in Module 3, Optimizing Your Website, Lesson 3, Website Tracking. In this lesson, you will learn the basics of website data tracking with pixels and analytics. So really quickly, your website is one of the most vital employees in your business. So ask yourself, is it doing its job? Your website directly affects the bottom line of your business, and you want to make sure that it's working 24/7, 365 in favor of your business growth. The only way to know that if your website is doing its job is with website data tracking via analytics. So let's talk about analytics. Your website analytics provide a direct insight into what people are doing on your website. So if you've ever wondered how many people are actually visiting your website pages, and if they are, what are they doing there? Where are they going? That's exactly what website analytics will tell you. Hands down, the most widely used analytics tool is Google Analytics. It allows you to see what pages people are visiting, what they are doing on your website while they're there, demographics, mobile versus desktop users, and more. All of this will help you understand your audience better and will let you know if your website is actually doing its job. So what data should you look at? No matter what you're using for analytics, you should be looking for specific data and know what it means when you see it. In this course, I'm going to be talking specifically about Google Analytics, but keep these things in mind when you use different analytics tools. Okay, so we're going to start with behavior analytics. Your behavior analytics will tell you how visitors on your site are using your site. And here's a quick overview inside of Google Analytics. So first, we're looking at page views, okay? Page views are how many pages were viewed on your website in a given time frame, okay? So if a user visits the same page multiple times, all visits are counted. So it's all pages viewed on your website in a given time. And you can always change the time frame in Google Analytics to see how many page views you've got in a specific time period. And you can always, I believe, you can also compare as well, different time periods. There's also unique page views. So unique page views, that's how many pages were viewed by unique users. Duplicate page views by the same users are not counted. So you can see here that duplicate page views are not counted here, and you can see how it significantly changes the number from page views to unique page views. So let's talk about what page views tells you. Page views can help you find trends in your website traffic. Spikes and lulls in traffic would be cause for further investigation. If there's a lull in your traffic, you might consider increasing your content promotional strategy or getting more referrers to send traffic to your site. If there's a spike in traffic, you might investigate further where the traffic was coming from, which page they're landing on, and make sure those pages are optimized for the highest possible conversion rates. So you can see here there is a trend line. So if you see a spike in that trend line and you see your page views are going up, you can think, where is that traffic coming from? What pages are they landing on? I should investigate this and make sure those pages are optimized. If there's a lull, again, you can see if there's something going on in your site or increase your promotional efforts to get more traffic. All right, your bounce rate. Your bounce rate is the percentage of people coming to your website and leaving without interacting with your site, okay, such as clicking on links or visiting another page. They're coming to your site and then they're leaving. They're a bounce, okay? Let's talk about what this tells you. A high bounce rate indicates that people are not engaging with your content. It could mean that the copy isn't right. It could mean that the page isn't optimized for conversion, so people don't have other actions to take. It's not guiding them to the next step or somewhere else on your site, such as providing calls to actions. It could mean that the pages aren't interlinked to other pages on your site, which is, again, very important. The lower the bounce rate, the better. So if you have a very high bounce rate, if you have like say over 50%, then you're going to want to look at that and see how can I bring that bounce rate down by optimizing my pages, by interlinking them and giving more calls to action. All right, let's talk about the top 10 pages. Your top 10 pages will give you a quick rundown of your top 10 most popular pages on your site in a given time. So what this tells you is that this will help you figure out what pages you should be focusing on in terms of optimizing. It will help you identify which pages are associated with traffic spikes as well. If you're getting some pages with a lot of traffic, that also gives you insights into your audience, what kind of content they're looking for, especially if they're content related pages. So keep that in mind when you see your top 10. Landing pages. So inside of Google Analytics, you can see the landing pages that people are landing on, and you'll be able to see them in order of their popularity. So your landing pages are the pages people land on when they are first visiting your site during a session. By the way, a session is when someone visits your site and includes all the pages they visit during that one session. So when they leave, the session is over. So what this information tells you is that seeing what pages people are landing on when they visit your site will help you, one, optimize your content better, and two, see if there are any issues to troubleshoot, such as people going to an old page on your site that you thought you had removed, or if you start seeing 404 pages showing up, people are seeing errors on your site and you need to get those fixed. If you've set up conversion goals, which we'll talk about in a minute, you'll also have the ability to track how much money a specific page is earning your business in a given time frame. So that was the behavior analytics. Let's talk about acquisition analytics. Your acquisition analytics will tell you where your website traffic is coming from, okay? So if Google Analytics can discern where the website traffic is coming from, it'll report that in your acquisition analytics. So here's an example of what you would see in your acquisition analytics. These are the referral sources. Your referral sources will show you where your traffic is coming from. And what this tells you is when you know your top referrers, it will help you discern if your content promotion on social media, if it's working, if there are potential brand collaborators to explore, and more. Okay, so this is really helpful information when you see who's sending traffic to me and how can I optimize that, how can I work with that and make that, take advantage more of that platform or that referral source. All right, let's talk about audience analytics. Your audience analytics will tell you more about the people who are visiting your website. This covers demographics, countries of origin, language, browsers, and devices used to visit your site, and more. Example is session duration. Average session duration is how long people typically stay on your website. And this is important because you need to know, are people sticking around on my site long enough to consume my content and benefit from my messaging? The industry standard for average session duration is between 2 to 3 minutes. Ours is a bit low. So a good session duration is anything above 3 minutes. And so we can now know when we're looking at this, we need to optimize our content to keep people sticking around, so we get that session duration up. They stick around longer, which means they have more time to consume our content and our messaging and take action on our calls to action. New versus returning visitors. This is another important piece of information. How many people are coming to your site that are brand new versus how many people have come to your site before? That's the difference between new visitor and returning visitors. So what this tells you is typically you want a healthy mix of new and returning traffic, especially if you're putting out regular long form content. If you look at our example, our numbers are leaning heavily toward new visitors. And this isn't surprising since the majority of our long form content was our podcast for a long time, which typically doesn't foster a visit to the website. Now that we're focusing our efforts more on building our blog, I'd expect to see the returning visitor number balance out a bit over time. So next is mobile analytics. What kind of device are your people using when they access your site? This is quite helpful. It tells you whether or not mobile accessibility of your website is important. It usually is, and where you focus, your focus should be on responsive design. It could also help you decide, should you have an app for your business? If you have a lot of mobile users, maybe an app for your programs is going to be a better experience for them versus just a desktop accessed program. All right, conversion analytics. Your conversion analytics will tell you how well your website is converting for you, and these are super important. Conversion analytics are typically connected to goals in Google Analytics that you set up, which tells Google Analytics how much value you place on a specific page. So you can set up sign up or lead conversion goals, sales conversion goals, and many other types of goals as well. So here is an example of some goals that we have set up, okay? You can set custom goals to track specific conversions on your site. And what these goals tell you is that you can track sales and give a value to each visit to a confirmation page. You can also track lead conversions like in the example shown right here. This shows us that the conversion rate averaged between all of our current lead magnet goals on this view. But we can also whittle it down. We can whittle down the data to a specific goal if we're wanting to look at a specific goal. So this is basically just all of our legal, because we have our business separated from legal and business. This is our legal lead magnets. And looking at our legal lead magnets, you can see total goal completions in this short time frame, and then the goal value, which they're leads, so we didn't put a value on those. But then we talk about the goal conversion rate, we talk about total abandon rate, and then you can see from there the ultimate legal checklist. That's one goal. We have the privacy policy, that's one goal. We have BOMU, which is actually both a business and a legal lead. So we have that there. And then we have our general opt-in form. And you can see by far our most popular lead magnet is our privacy policy page. And then the second to that is BOMU. So it's given us some great data to pull from that. And then we are being able to track those goals. Again, you can do, this is for our leads view, but you can also do it for sales as well. And then what you would do is you would place a goal, a monetary goal value for when someone lands on the confirmation page or the thank you page after they purchase. You would place a monetary value for whatever the price of your offer was. And then you can track the value through their entire user journey and what led them to get there when they actually decided to buy. So understanding how your website is working for you is essential to maintaining and growing your online-based business. As you can see, knowing your analytics will help you make more strategic decisions about your website, pages, content, and more. There are also more ways to track data on your website as well, including the use of tracking pixels from third-party apps. So let's talk about pixels really quickly. We're just going to cover this very briefly. Pixels are platform-specific tracking codes that you put on your site to allow third-party apps to track specific activity on your site. So common tracking pixels include the Facebook pixel and the Pinterest pixel. Both of these pixels are used when creating ads for the specific platform and allow the platform to track the performance of those ads based on related activity between the platform and your website. So essentially, a pixel is a cookie, and we didn't really talk much about cookies, but when we talk about analytics, when we talk about pixels, anytime data is being tracked, they're using cookies to do that. And all a cookie is, it's a small file that is put on a visitor's website, and you can anonymize the data that you're tracking inside of Google Analytics, which we're not going to cover that in this video now. But essentially, it's a harmless file that will be put on their site. And when that file is recognized on that person's computer, it will continue to track the data when there is activity between platforms. So if a person goes on your website, we are tracking their activity while they're on the website. Pixels can track data across platforms or across websites. And so that's a little bit of a difference between how Google Analytics will work versus pixels. But Google Analytics can also track typically the referring traffic. Where are they coming from? So there's a little bit of third-party tracking in there as well. But typically they would do that with cookies. So that is a brief overview of pixels, and you got a quick look inside of Google Analytics. And now we've come to the end of our course. So this is kind of the end, but not really, because your website really is never truly done. We've covered so much, but over time, you're going to want to iterate on your website. You're going to want to make it better. You're going to work on your messaging, your content, everything. But now you have a solid foundation for understanding what you need on your website and how to make sure your website is working for you. If you have any questions, please go to the BOMU community so we can help you get through building your website. We can't wait to see you there. Thanks for joining me in Badass Websites in BOMU.